it's very important to look at this address, looking at least three important things. First, what is forensics investigation? Then we look at the legal meaning of the terms murder, manslaughter, and the homicide itself. First of all, we look at what is forensic itself, which is just an application of scientific methods and techniques that are used to investigate, detect, and even establish facts and evidences that are presented in the court of law. The term forensic investigation is used for nearly all investigations. Is financial fraud, murder. So forensics used in these investigations for evidence to convict a person. Now, this forensic investigation of homicide cases involves the understanding of, first, there are three things, differences between the terms of homicide, because we have to even understand what is homicide. What's the difference between homicide, murder, and manslaughter? Because in Nigeria, we have two sections of law. We have the penal code and the criminal code. The penal code is operating in the northern part of the country, while the criminal code is in the southern part of the country. And then we look at general outlook of what is forensic investigation. And then finally, we look at the specific forensic investigation that has to do with homicide. So first, we look at homicide, murder, and slaughter. These are three different legal terms that tend to be difficult for a lot of people to understand. The reason is because they all have to do with the killing of a person by another person. However, the act and the intention of the killing is different in each case. So homicide is the killing of one person by another, and this term includes both legal and illegal killings. Whether legal or illegal, it's homicide. For example, during war, soldiers commit homicide without committing a crime. Then intentional homicide is the ultimate crime and has ripple effects that go far beyond the original loss of human life. For example, it may become a family affair. You kill a member of my family, then I will go and kill a member of your family. So it goes like that. And then that will give you secondary victims of the homicide case. Homicide is therefore an umbrella term that houses all kinds of killings. Murder is a homicide itself. That is the illegal killing of another person. It is a homicide committed with malice aforethought. In other words, it is unjustified killing. Whereas manslaughter is a homicide that is the unintentional killing of the general outlook of forensic investigation. You see, forensic science is a multidisciplinary science, and it includes so many disciplines. Just to list a few, we have forensic chemistry, forensic biology, forensic physics, forensic computing, accounting, psychology, sociology, etc. Then looking at the and then let's look at the
Hello, Prof.
The actual forensic investigation technique that is developed for homicide cases and even rape. Rape a person, he died, you have to forensic DNA detect the person. So we look at it as it is distinguished between two individuals is a tricky matter, because close to 99.9% of our DNA is the same as everybody else's DNA. Only just very small amount of it we differ in it. And if a perpetrator leaves behind a mask, cigarette butt, empty soda can, at the scene crime scene. Samples of sweat, skin cells, or saliva can be collected, and the resulting DNA profile compared to samples from the particles or from the parties in question. So let's look specifically at the DNA analysis. DNA analysis has also been used to help exonerate those convicted of crimes they did not commit. That is maybe prior to the Alec Joffrey's detection of the DNA profiling of your DNA fingerprinting. Many such cases have been successful because of the use of DNA analysis was either non-existent or because there is the method was rudimentary at the time of conviction. Then, why is DNA found and how many types? All cells, except mature red blood cells, contain DNA. And DNA is located in the cell nucleus and in the mitochondria. In the nucleus, we have two types, the autosomal chromosomes and the sex-determining chromosomes. The autosomal is the one involved in the homicide cases, while sex-determining chromosomes is where you look at the to check the rape culprits. So autosomal DNA is primarily used in criminal investigation because, with the exception of identical twins, no two people have the same autosomal DNA. DNA can also be divided into two, coding and non-coding. Coding DNA provides instructions for protein making, while the non-coding does not. So only about 1 to 2% of DNA is made up of protein coding genes, and the other 98 to 99% is non-coding. So non-coding DNA is used in criminal investigation for forensic science. Now, the experiment conducted by Alec Jeffreys to find out how inherited illnesses pass through families failed completely, but turned out to be the world's first DNA fingerprinting. That has revolutionized crime scene investigations. This experiment led to the convicted that were unfairly denied UK citizenship have been allowed to settle in the country. Thereafter, millions of individuals have had their DNA. Main problems in the third world, we apply DNA forensic investigation using DNA. It's not very easy. So one time, Jeffrey received a call from Leicester, the rape and murder of two schoolgirls, Linda Mann, who was killed in November 23rd, 1983, and another also, Down Ashworth, another 15-year-old, killed in July 31st, 1988. These are the two girls. The first victim of experimental victims, and the first victims whose murderer was detected by DNA analysis. So that is the historical background of DNA fingerprinting, which was conducted by Alec Jeffrey. Now, Jeffrey was told that one man, Richard Buckland, had just confessed to the murder of Linda Down, but refused to confess to the killing of the other child. And so Jeffrey was requested to use his DNA fingerprinting technology to prove the man that is the Buckland killed both girls. Jeffrey now used a version of DNA fingerprinting, which is called DNA profiling, which is quicker to use and requires smaller samples. With this method, only a limited number of repeated regions, that now what is called short tandem repeats, are counted on the developed photographic film used in the experiment. The film was covered in black bands, which showed that the semen samples from both girls came from the same man, but the Buckland's DNA was completely different. So the Buckland was telling lies, in other words. So he was not the murderer, and the test indicated. So the police, after conducting another test, accepted Buckland's innocence, and he was cleared of the girl's murder. Then in January 1987, police asked all local men between 17 and 34 to submit blood for data DNA testing in order to eliminate them from their inquiries. So this is something which is to be done by every country in order to have a database for DNA. Because if you don't have database for DNA, how can you compare sample collected from the crime scene or from the victim to who? You don't have the samples. You don't have the database. So we need database to do this. So on 1st August 1987, Ian Kelly admitted that he had provided blood on behalf of his colleague, Colin Peters. So you see, they were called to submit samples so that DNA of individuals will be tested and the database brought up. But you can see now, somebody, a friend, he's covering somebody. He provided his sample on behalf of his friend. But unfortunately, a woman overheard the conversation and then reported to the police. And on 19 September 1987, both the Ian Kelly and the Pitchcock were arrested. And the latter's DNA was shown by Jeffries to match that of the semen from the two girls, the murdered girls. So on 23rd January 1988, Pitchcock was sentenced to life for murders of both Linda Mann and Dawn Usher. So this is the unfortunate person. As Jeffrey says, it was the first time on the planet that a criminal investigation had been tackled and solved at a DNA level. So this person, after Pitchcock was previously denied parole on 2 occasions, that is in 2016 and 2018, the parole board deemed in June 2021 that the 61-year-old was no longer a danger to the public. Well, that's their own claim. So the decision was ratified the following month, and the person was released. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much.